Welcome to our Fantasy Game Day 10-minute tips. Fantasy Game Day, the greatest UK-based DFS Fantasy Game Day app. Download it in your app store. Over 18 only. Bet responsibly when the fun stops, but you'll find good games at every price point you'd like to play and for every experience level you'd like to play at. If you want to play £3, £25, there is something for everyone. We focus on the Sunday main slate and our 10-minute tips here. We give you a wide receiver, a quarterback, and then a flex, a running back or tight end. It's PPR scoring. We've got 10 minutes, so let's get them moving. We'll start off with our quarterbacks. Who's up first? Let me see who we've got here. Oh, we have an overlay somewhere here in the pack.
Do you want me to go first, Byron, while Joe's working?
Yeah, Paul, you go first. Let's start us off here.
Yeah, I'm going to take Matthew Stafford this week. 6,800 for Stafford. I've been going down like the cheap quarterback route. So Mario backing up Jane Daniels. Obviously started a couple of games. Jackson Dart last couple of weeks. Don't really feel I could go down the cheap quarterback route this week. So I'm going to go down Matthew Stafford. Despite it being in a loss, Stafford had a great game against the 49ers on Thursday Night Football last week in week 5. So 300 plus yards, 3 touchdowns. Obviously, this Jesus Christ, almost named every other team but the one he was playing then. This Ravens defense, as you quite rightly mentioned, Byron, on our review episode last week, is on pace to be historically the worst in the NFL in terms of points given up. Obviously, they have got some reinforcements in the secondary. CJ Gardner-Johnson obviously came in, but I'm not sure that's enough to stop Puka Nacua and Devontae Adams ultimately. And I think that's where you're going to get the success this week. I like Stafford to have another kind of multi-touchdown game, no turnovers. And yeah, 6,800. Obviously, I suspect that Prescott's might be popular this week with kind of the matchups. So kind of just that little bit, the kind of the second tier of pricing. I like Matthew Stafford at 6,800.
Grand, I have gone to the bottom tier of pricing. I'm going with Jacoby Brissett. It is a big revenge game for him, going back to Indianapolis. It's coming in at 4,200, the minimum you can play for a quarterback. And with minimums this week, you've got Joe Flacco, maybe Cooper Rush, Tyler Huntley, take your pick, or Jacoby Brissett at 4,200. I think with Marvin Harrison, he might prefer Jacoby Brissett, who might get the ball out on time. Kyler Murray, you see, scrambles on every play. And I think part of that is his height, because he needs to see around the line quite often. So those players don't quite come out on the time you expect them to. Great playmaker at moments, Kyler, but not a traditional drop back and pass the ball. Brissett can do that more. I think with Bryant and Harrison can eat this week. And I like the low budget quarterback option. I think unless you're going to get a real hit, Josh Allen type, Lamar Jackson type, game-changing number, I think this week especially, we'll see my flex as well. I'm going really low budget. I'm going to try and squeeze maybe 3 big options in. I think there's some players worth paying up for this week. So I've gone as low as I can at quarterback, and I'd rather go Brissett than Flacco or pick the Baltimore one.
I've just got a quick one, just in case, obviously, Kyle is day-to-day.
Mm-hmm.
Have you, just in case, obviously, you get the benefit of you don't have to put your lineup in Fantasy Game Day right up until the last minute.
Yeah.
Just in case Kyler is active, have you got kind of like a backup option?
Yeah, Joe's about to talk about him.
Oh, sorry. Okay, Joe.
There you go. It's a man himself, Mac Jones, for the San Francisco 49ers against Tampa Bay. Yeah, it seems like he's going to be the one. He's day-to-day too, but I think he'll play. Obviously, there's the worry that the Bucs do put a lot of pressure on a quarterback, and they do blitz quite a lot. And the offense line will be great, but they also stop the run. So I think it's going to be a big pass-heavy game for the 49ers. The last 3 games he's played, he's thrown over 250 yards. Every game, he had 342 against the Rams last time. And he's at least gets at least 1 touchdown. He's only thrown 1 interception. I think that's what's been the biggest improvement compared to his previous years where he was throwing boneheaded plays. So he's just taking what he can get. And I think against his Tampa Bay, I think the 49ers are going to attack in the air. So at 4,600, I think that's your cheap option to build around him, because I think there could be a lot of points for Mac Jones.
Love it. Yeah, like I said, that's my backup if I end up getting bad news on Jacoby. Cool. I think moving on to wide receiver. I haven't seen matchup, so I'll start off here. And this is a player that I really want to pay up for. I mean, I'd love to pay down for him, but it's not an option. 7,200. The wide receiver free in pricing on the week. But goodness, he's been good. Emeka Egbuka shining every single week. Mike Evans still not going to be back this week. Chris Godwin still getting up to fitness. The 49ers play cover 4 and cover 6 defense at the second highest rate in the NFL. Against cover 4 and 6 cover 4 and cover 6 defenses, Emeka Egbuka is averaging 10.4 yards per route run. For context, if you get above 2.5 yards per route run, you think that's a pretty special player. 10.5 yards per route run against those things. Week 3, he went 4 for 63 yards. Week 4, he went 1 of 3 for 77 yards and a touchdown. Week 5 last week, 130 yards and a touchdown against those coverages, and that's all on 26 routes. He absolutely cooks when you let him against cover 4, cover 6. Baker is good against this coverage as well. I think it's a perfect matchup in a high-scoring game where we believe there's going to be points. Give me Egbuka at 7,200, a player that I think is truly worth paying up for. Paul, who have you gone for?
Calvin Ridley, which might be a bit of a strange choice given he kind of catches about 50% of targets that are thrown his way. However, when he managed to get 3 or 4 receptions a game, they tend to be big ones, and I think the Raiders are really, really poor in the secondary. And Ridley and Cam Ward got going a bit last week, especially when the game was on the line. Ridley was the one that Cam Ward kept going to.
Yep.
And with a bit of time in the pocket, was able to kind of find him pretty consistently. I think it was 5 for 131 last week, was it? Yeah. 5 on 10 targets for 131. It's the theme with Calvin Ridley, so that roughly 50% of his targets he'll catch. So hoping for plenty of attempts, and I think he can torch this secondary. And that's where I think it might only be a few catches. If he can tag it, he's not caught a touchdown this year as well, so I feel like he's kind of due a touchdown. So if you kind of tag that 100 yards with a touchdown at 4,600, I think that's a pretty good value play that helps you kind of, again, balance your team out and get a stud or two in your fantasy game day lineup.
Grant and Joe, you've got even more budget.
Yeah, I've got Matthew Golden for the Packers at 3,800. There's a few Packers wide receivers you can choose from. I've just gone Golden just because I think with the bye week, they might have an extra week. They'll get another chance to learn that playbook, and they might tag him. He hasn't got a touchdown yet, but every week he's getting more and more targets. I think the last game against the Cowboys, he had 6 targets for 5 catches at 58 yards. So I think they are trusting him a little bit more. He's the second wide receiver on the number of yards. Tucker Kraft is first, and Dobbs, who's got 4 touchdowns, that's another option as well. He's 4,600. But I feel like Golden, similar to Paul, I think he's due a touchdown this year. And I think against this Bengals defense, who's conceded the last few games, 37, 28, 48, 27 is the last 4 games. So there's plenty of points for this Packers to spread around. And I think they want to show something with how the last 2 games have gone.
Absolutely. And on to our flexes. Paul, take us away.
Yeah, Jay Ferguson's on pace for 140 catches, which is crazy. And that is not going to continue at that rate. That's going to be in the ballpark for a tight end record. I don't know where we're at, whether that's still Dallas Goedert or Brock Bowers. I don't know where we're at, but it's somewhere. Like, it's going to be somewhere in the ballpark. It's not going to carry on, but he's averaging, as I say, 8 catches a game at the minute. Obviously, it's a lot of short yardage, though. He's only 272 receiving yards, but the fact this is it's a half PPR format, isn't it? Bumps you, and he started getting in the end zone as well. So I think again at £4,000, he's jumped up a bit. I think he was 30. It might have been 3,000 last week.
Fantasy game does PPR, not half. So
okay, yeah, cool, yeah.
Even more value for Jake Ferguson.
Yeah, he's got 3 touchdowns in 5 games so far. He started getting in the end zone after not scoring a touchdown last year. I feel he's going to be his career best of 5. He's so reliable, and while CD Lamb's out, he's going to get kind of this this kind of volume of targets. So he's no fewer than 6 targets a game so far. So yeah, I think Jake Ferguson is still a really, really good player. I think you can play him as a flex. Never mind if you want to go 2 tight ends. I did last week. But yeah, I think you play him as a flex or tight end with that volume.
Grant, I've gone a tight end as well. And like I say, I'm paying down as far as possible. I've got a few premium options I want to squeeze in. Jake Tonjes, 2,400. Titan 21 in scoring, only 200 above minimum. Is averaging over 10 points per week or 10 points per game. He got 17 last week, 7 receptions, 41 yards and a touchdown. Got a touchdown the week before. He's got 3 on the season already. At 2,400, I think it's kind of crazy. I would also like to shout out, in case I do need to scale down even more, Hunter Long at 2,200 with Brenton Strange going on IR, I think is a nice minimum price for tight end. But my choice is Jake Tonjes at 2,400. And Joe, you've got a premium running back to finish us off.
Yeah, I've got Kyron Williams, I think, against this Baltimore Ravens defense, who are the third worst in rushing yards. I think he's going to go off. He has these kind of games where every year he just has a monster game where he gets 2-3 touchdowns and over 100 yards. This year, it was against the 49ers. It was 65 yards was his lowest output. So he's still, he's the bell cow for this team, and I think this is going to carry on against this Ravens team. Well, anyone can run over, so I think he could be good for 100 yards. So they've got 1 TD this year. So again, hoping for changing the tide and get a couple of touchdowns against this this shocking Ravens defense. So, yeah,
hopefully no one sucker punches him in the head this week on the goal line.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Hopefully for Kyron, and hopefully you follow these tips and cash yourself some money this week in Fantasy Game Day. As I said, promo code COVER, COVER. Use that code, you'll get a free play once you've played a play. So you play a 750 lineup, you'll get a free 750 lineup the following week, or even that week if you want to play a second lineup. So yeah, promo code COVER is our promo code. Thank you to everyone that used it. And please continue to do so. Shout out Fantasy Game Day, the best game day you will have.